4% of all business aircraft are based in Africa, which makes it a relatively small market. But that hasn't stopped 150 high-level industry players from taking part in this conference.
The fact that we have 54 countries that have their own 54 set of rules for aviation is a challenge. The fact that unfortunately we lack certain transparency in corporate governance, that's a challenge, and hopefully we're trying to solve it here. The fact that there's so much skepticism from the outside world in trusting African aviation to do the right thing, that's a challenge.
The many sets of aviation rules is a challenge that's being addressed at an African Union level through the recently created African Civil Aviation Commission.
I know that it's still at its infancy in terms of trying to find its feet and be a robust agency, but I think a lot is done in terms of engaging and making sure that we try where possible to standardize and harmonize our legislation. It is work in process, and I'm hoping that in a few years' time that African Civil Aviation Agency will be able to give direction and make sure that all member states of this agency in fact conform to a single standard.
On the matter of standards, the global aviation sector is aiming for carbon neutrality in all its operations, but there's limited impact on African operators.
If it's a small operator under 10,000 tons a year annually internationally, it won't have to really worry about participating in CORSIA. But above that, they will. Smaller operators, I don't think that many of them in Africa are going to have to worry about it. It'll be those that are operating multiple aircraft and doing significant amounts of flying.
On an operational level, travelers on the continent need to be confident in airline safety standards.
End users that would ordinarily not use African operators will begin to use African operators. So raising the standards, improving operations, and increasing safety, I think that is the one single thing that we can do for improving business aviation throughout Africa.
With aviation seen as a great enabler to get people to move across the continent and to lead to economic growth, it's important that the business aviation sector gets its act together. It seems like it's on track. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.